Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. My name is FG and I'm here with the legend himself, Michael Brown. You're probably wondering where we're stood. Well, we're actually in the away end before all the fans come in and you just hear them all in this corner. Brownie, lovely stadium, lovely occasion. Let's start the show off by talking about players who've represented both Chelsea and Manchester City. And I'm going to start with the legend himself, Sean Wright-Phillips.
Well, brilliant one. It's one club I've not played for. I always have a couple, we know that. But there's some brilliant, just sing down the list. Sean Wright-Phillips, what a player. We know him well, obviously.
Broke my heart when you left, by the way, Sean. I will never forget. But anyway,
I remember him playing for Chelsea. He obviously had to come back. He had to come back. But he's give you a bit of credit as well today, has he? Was it you or Nadim who was he saying good things about?
It was Nadim's birthday today. So happy birthday, Nadim Anua, by the way. Another City legend's birthday. Let's move on. Nicholas Anelka.
Well, I mean, what can we say? Amazing. There's so many, right? Nicholas Anelka, what he brought, he had that finesse, didn't he? That touch. Played for loads of clubs as well, didn't he? Real top striker. I think when you start to see over the time as City started to develop, to get better, to start winning titles, the list gets even better. Have you got any more?
Have you got any more for us?
Well, I've got one, obviously, but I know you've got a couple more, haven't you?
Well,
I think you forgot of a
Super
key
Frank
one.
Lampard.
Frank Lampard.
Daniel Sturridge, of course. I was gutted when he left as well. And now, who's this key one that you're talking about?
You don't know.
Am I going to kick myself?
You are.
We're of course ignoring potential starting 11s because we'll talk about that later when we've got the team news.
Is there anyone who's the main player at Man City?
Do you know this, Mark?
Main player at Man City? No? You forgot about him already? Because he's been injured. He'll be back soon. Pep said he's on the way. The journey's getting better.
You know what, right? Whoa. I've remembered. And one thing I remember is being stood just there when he put one straight in the top corner. Well, Kevin De Bruyne, how can we forget? Have you got any more, Brownie?
There's a few. Wayne Bridge
indeed. Right, listen, I'm going to leave this before he carries on embarrassing me. We're going to head to the studio where we've got some very, very special guests.
Thank you so much to FG and to Michael Brown. Can you believe that FG forgot Kevin? FG, I will never let you live this down, ever. We are joined today in the studio by a wonderful panel of guests. I'm so excited for today's show. We've got Joleon Lescott, Kolo Toure and Brian Barry Murphy. Thank you so much. Kolo, I think this is your second time on the show.
Yes.
Thank you for coming back. We must have treated you nicely.
Absolutely. Always happy to be back here and see Joe, see Brian here, and see you as well. Always a pleasure.
That's what that leads. Very kind, Kolo. I say I'm very excited for the show, mainly because these two have just been talking non-stop since the second that they got here and laughing, and I'm sure we're going to get some cracking stories out of the both of them as well. Joleon, I can't remember how many times you've been on now.
Yeah, not enough, to be honest. Not enough. But I'm always happy to come back. Yeah. It's every other week.
Good. Yeah. And Brian, 2-3 times for you on the show now, I think. More?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe 4. I think. Yeah, all the previous games have been exceptional games. So
good.
Hopeful for today. Very hopeful.
Hopefully, you're a good luck charm for us then.
Definitely.
Congratulations on your victory again in the UEFA Youth League as well. Your team's going cracking in that competition.
Yeah, the players have done exceptionally well because we've probably struggled in the Premier League 2 this season a little bit in terms of where we are in the table. So it's given the players a big lift to be so competitive and in a great position going into the final 2 games.
The final 2 games, I got confused with the qualifying. So you're through, but if you finish top, you go straight through to the last 8. And if you finish second, is it a playoff round?
No, so you're almost there. Okay. It took me the same last season. Where essentially the top 2 teams go through to the knockout stages. The team who finishes second in the group goes to the last 32, and the team who goes top goes to the last 16.
Oh, I moved you further forward then, yes.
Good, I think there's a competition running for the teams from the domestic leagues, and essentially the winners of that competition meet the second place teams. Yeah, as you go.
Okay.
We thought we were successful last season by winning the group and got knocked out in the last 16 by a team who came through the other format. So I don't think it's a big deal which way you go, to be honest. I don't think.
But you're there. You're in one of them.
That's it. Yeah, the guys are there. Yeah,
congratulations. Thank you. Right, as always, Matchday Live is the very first place to get your team news. So we're going to go straight back over to Stamford Bridge now, and FG is going to give us our starting 11 for today.
Welcome back to Stamford Bridge. It is time to reveal the Manchester City team news for this evening's game against Chelsea. In goal is the ever-present Ederson. The captain is Kyle Walker. And then it is Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Josko Vardiol, Rodrigo, Bernardo, Foden, and a front three, we think, of Doku, Alvarez and Haaland. The substitutes for Manchester City is Stefan Ortega, Scott Carson, Calvin Phillips, Mateo Kovacic, Jack Grealish, Mateus Nunes, Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis. Joining me pitchside is the man himself, Michael Brown. Brown, who's seen the team? Any surprises?
There's never really a surprise, is it? It's just Pep Guardiola, how they're going to play, who's going to come into the system. I think we've seen around the pitch now, going to Arsenal is a talking point for me. Alvarez went out in a wider area. Will he play in the 10 with Bernardo and Rodri? We're always guessing, we know that. Haaland top of the pitch. Doku again, so impressive. He's getting better and better. Phil Foden. So we'll see how he sets it up, how those sort of rotate. Is there anything different, Joe, that we're going to see from Pep Guardiola? Because there's always a little bit of a sprinkle at times, but really strong, exciting team, and I really feel like this side can go on and win this game.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you quickly about Manuel Akanji. Goes a little bit under the radar sometimes. Was an absolute steal when we got him in. He's been really, really reliable, and it seems like Pep absolutely loves him, and rightly so.
No, he does, and it's interesting to the story how Akanji came in. It was a late change. They had to go and find someone and recruit. And it just tells you the support network behind Pep Guardiola and this football club. What a signing for the right money. And from the very first game, we commentated on him, how he stepped in, how he wanted to take the ball. He felt like he was so at home, and I think that's what impressed Pep Guardiola very, very quickly. He's been stepping into midfield. We've seen him in left-back positions. We've seen him in right-back positions. He's got the lot, hasn't he? I mean, a really, really top signing, real good professional, real nice gentleman as well. So, yeah, bring it on. Fantastic.
Let's go on to that recruitment then, shall we? Obviously, we absolutely love Cheeky because he's been incredible. And a player he's brought in recently is Jeremy Doku, and he is absolutely electrifying. I run out of words for this man, Brownie. If you're playing against him, how do you stop him?
Well, yeah. I think you're looking at me saying, how would I stop him? I think
we all know the answer.
There might be a slight. No, I'd move my body around, I'd get really tight, I'd stay on my feet. But I could just have vision. I'd be chasing him down this wing here, and I think I'd be on my backside very, very quickly. He's just so unpredictable. He's got that little stop, that weight, and then he just pushes it, go both ways, and he's creating opportunities. Imagine when he starts to get goals and when he settles in as well. So really exciting, but yeah, I think did they call it Rosette at some point? That's what I used to do, but you can't do that anymore. So tough to play against.
We will have the Chelsea team news for you very, very soon, but it could be him against Reece James, which will be a really, really interesting test. We will discuss that with the Chelsea team news. Let's move on. Let's talk about the main man, Erling Haaland. Unbelievably, there are some critics sometimes out there for him, but in a sky blue shirt, he never lets us down, and he relishes opportunities like this, doesn't he?
I was on a show with a broadcaster recently, and they were saying Erling Haaland, his thing's starting to get tight, he's struggling. I started laughing and saying, come on, really? Getting more goals, coming back, some fantastic different types of goals, and he'll be really looking forward to this one. He's got nothing to prove, has he? I mean, incredible return.
Well, we've got Brian Barry Murphy in the studio, and I can imagine he's probably just laughing at what you've just said. Let's head back to him and everybody else, and let's hear what they think.
Thank you, FG, and thank you to Michael Brown. So that is 5 changes from the team that beat Young Boys in the week. Akanji, Rodri, Bernardo, Doku and Alvarez all come into the starting 11 today. Joleon, initial impressions on the team today?
Yeah, again, you expect changes and there's no surprises in there. Again, people may have thought Jack would have started, having started at Old Trafford in the derby. It's kind of been a similar game, but Doku's form has been exceptional. So again, no surprises, and again, there's no one you'd question or suggest otherwise than what Pep does.
Yeah, so Jack Grealish is on the bench today, along with Ortega, Carson, Phillips, Kovacic, Grealish, Mateus, Bob and Lewis. So that's the bench today. So Jack is on the bench today. To be honest, I'm done with the kind of Grealish or Doku talk. Like, they're both wonderful.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as I said, they've both been different threats, different qualities, and yeah, I'm sure he's just picking him on current form right now. And like after last week, what did he 1 goal and 4 assists maybe? So yeah, you would expect it to start after a performance like that. And yeah, Reece James all know he's been in the game today, because regardless of the outcome of the last action, he will get at him again and again and again, and it'll be difficult to defend.
Yeah, it's great for the competition.
Yeah.
You know, and Jack have to raise his game. Doku is a really good player. Both of them will compete, and that will make the team better. And that's why City is doing very well, because in every position they have big competition, and everybody have to be in the best to win, to start the game really. And for me, that's a big difference between City and some other clubs.
Kolo, what would it be like defending a player like Jeremy Doku? Because obviously, as a fan, we love it because you feel like you don't know what he's going to do.
Kolo will be fine. Kolo would have done all right. Let me tell you.
What I really like with the boy is nowadays I think we lost a little bit of those kind of wingers who get the ball and attack direct, and I think I love that kind of players. I will hate to play against them definitely because they put you on your back feet all the time. You have to drop. You have to make sure they don't pass you because it can go either way. You don't know where he's going to go, and even if you anticipate that, he got the power to push you out. His quality is unbelievable for City definitely.
It really does feel like we've got a shortage of players like him. It feels like a while since I've got so excited every time somebody gets the ball.
Yeah, I think it seemed the clear directive from the boss was to give him something totally different this season, and that's what the recruitment department and Cheeky have kind of gone to supply. And I think they've definitely delivered based on what we've seen early in the season. I think he's totally different to what was in the squad previously, and you can definitely sense the excitement around the training ground about what he provides for the squad.
Yeah, very much. Incredible recruitment again from City. I mean, when we signed him, I was excited only because I remembered him from Belgium, but the more we get to see him, the more phenomenal he is. Before we talk a bit more about the attack, I mean, we've got a pretty defensive setup in the studio today. So in terms of the defence today, Kolo, Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Gvardiol, what do you make of that back four? Very strong back four. We can see they all look like centre backs, really, I can say, and that's mean City knows that with Raheem on the side, with the wingers that Chelsea have, they have to make sure that they defend very well because City will always score goals, and the most important for City is to make sure they don't concede goals, and that's what Pep is doing today, having a back line which is really strong and can contain that Chelsea team. Gutted about John Stones' injury again because he's so phenomenal every time he's in. I want to call it the John Stones position these days.
But it is. It's unique to him because no one else. He doesn't ask anyone else to do it. I think Rico Lewis has done it a few times, but again, it's different because he's coming from a fullback area. But I'll be surprised if any of them centre halves are consistently in the midfield as much as John Stones. So he's unique to him. But again, they all have different qualities and different strengths. It's definitely not weaker without John Stones. But yeah, I'm sure the setup will have to be tweaked a little bit because John Stones is unique.
Do you see any of them moving forward, or how do you envision it going?
I'm trying to think if I've seen any of them actually playing there. I don't see Ruben in there. He spoke about Kyle, and Kyle's strengths is out wide in the fullback areas, and he's going to have to give the respect to Raheem that he deserves due to his pace. So maybe a Akanji or Guardiola, but again, being the only naturally left-footed player, probably operate on the left side as well. So again, I'll probably just see Bernardo and Rodri operate a little bit deeper and a little bit closer together, but I don't see many of the defenders consistently getting forward.
I love Bernardo. I mean, we all love Bernardo, but his performances lately have just been insane again. Pep compared him recently to Messi, which was, I imagine he thought was nice.
He should know it.
Yes. How important is a player like Bernardo to a team where, in terms of, he just doesn't stop running?
Yeah, I think he's a role model to everybody in the academy. The amount of time he spends speaking to the younger players is incredible, and teaching them about what he sees as being most important for them at this stage, which sometimes can be confusing because as young players we see all the fancy stuff or the stuff that you see on social media, but he's almost the complete opposite of that. And I mean purely on a playing level, his education about what's most important for young players from an academy point of view is priceless from what I see.
That's so lovely. So he comes in and he speaks to your players.
Well, our boys train a lot with Pep's teams when he's preparing for the game, so they get access to watching them, but they don't always get access to speaking them because of how busy they are. But there was a lot of reference after Old Trafford about the way he took the game away from Manchester United, almost single-handedly by playing slow. And so many times in academy football, the players are taught to play quick. You'll have seen this, like play quick, and he was educating the players on in certain moments against certain opponents in certain environments, you can take the game away from them by playing slow.
Especially if they can't press. Like we've seen United game, their press wasn't very organised. They didn't know how to do it. So all of a sudden we keep the ball, and it creates for them times and set up. But yeah, they just want to get into a low block and keep the ball for a long period.
His game intelligence is incredible.
Yeah.
He's a player who can play any position because his brain knows the game.
Yeah.
He can play left back, he can play controller, he can play striker and be great.
Yeah, I think he's probably the only midfielder that can play all 6, 8, 10 equally as good. I don't think you could put Kevin as a 6 and he'd be as good as Kevin in the 10, where Bernardo is as good as himself in all of them positions.
And played 7 a lot in all the big games last season, which was like testament to where the manager sees him, I think.
Yeah.
I love that. Have you got a preference for him, like if you wanted him to play, or is it just having that?
In the midfield, I definitely think he's in midfield. I remember this fixture 2 years ago, and he played as the pivot. It was outrageous because, again, he just operates in a different way to Rodri, where his ability to receive it on the edge of his own box, turn and then travel and stuff, it just nullifies the press for that reason, because as soon as you break a press with a turn or 1v1 scenario, the opposition are finished. Like, they can't recover because now you've created an overload. So his ability to do that is crazy.
I think he's losing the player who went to
Mahrez.
No, he went to Barcelona.
Gundogan.
I think losing Gundogan for me was a big loss. It's a big loss in my opinion. And to find a player like Kundo is very hard. Yeah. But I think Bernardo is a player who can fill that boot. You know, that's why the manager can use him on the middle there. Because as a left winger is good as well.
Yeah.
You know, because he can come on the middle, make the extra make on the middle. He can dribble, combine with people. But I think that on the middle right now is so very, very important. Because in there again is the brain. He helps Rodri get into different position between line. Like you say, he can turn with the ball. Everything is good player.
Love him. We love him. We love his personality as well. Never forget the cup of tea. Want to have a quick chat about Erling Haaland as well. First of all, in a second, we'll talk about his celebration. But I read this incredible stat this week that I just wanted to share with you all that I just absolutely love. So, Erling Haaland has scored 67 goals for City in 70 appearances. So that's since he joined. 67 goals in 70 appearances since the beginning of last season. In that time, Chelsea have scored 72 goals in total. Erling Haaland scored 67 goals. The entire Chelsea squad has scored 72 goals. He's just a machine. And then, of course, at the Ballon d'Or ceremony, Didier Drogba challenged him the next time he scored to either do the Drogba celebration or the Gary Lineker celebration. And I think most of us probably gambled that he would do Drogba. I fancied him for the Drogba celebration. Then he got this penalty midweek and we wondered what he would do. And he did a quick Drogba. Do you think it suddenly popped into his mind?
It was strange because I did see the ceremony in terms of them, Drogba suggesting that. And then obviously the next game he didn't score. So I'm thinking he's obviously in his mind to go that long, because it wasn't like 3 days. It was like 8, 9 days. So to just know that's effortlessly, I would just celebrate the way I spoke about it 10 days ago. And then, it's remarkable that you could just remember that. It's crazy.
So a challenge set by Didier Drogba, who for me is just one of the greatest ever Premier League strikers for sure. And Kolo, you played with him for the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about him.
He's a goal scorer. For me, I think when I remember Didier, he was somebody that big personality. Loves scoring goals. You know, after training, he can spend, 10, 15 minutes in front of the goal, shooting from any position. He knew his strength was scoring goals, and he just mastered that. And, he was a good leader for us as well in Ivory Coast, because we had him in the Ivory Coast team. He was, his quality is unbelievable in front of the goal. For me, when I remember Drogba, goals.
His record in finals, I don't think it's been matched.
No,
I think he scored
8 goals in finals.
Yeah, it's stupid. Every final he seems to get to, he seems to have an impact. So they're the players you want, because the teams he was playing for were getting to them.
Like the big moments.
Yeah.
He loved the big moments.
Did you ever play against him? I imagine you must have done a good few times.
Yeah.
What was it like defending?
I enjoyed playing against him, to be fair, because again, he wanted to play the way I wanted to defend. He wanted to be physical, so I used to enjoy that. And it was fun. It was fun, to be fair. Got some good clips of me and him going at it.
Really?
But he could talk, to be fair.
Talk, yeah.
But not like try and wind you up, try and distract you. Just like casual conversation. I'd say, Didier, I don't want to talk to you. And he literally just start conversations, and then the ball would come and it would be switched on, and it'd be crazy.
He does it on purpose, by the way.
Yeah.
But he does it on purpose, you know. When he knows that you focus, you concentrate, he will just try to take you out, distract you, really.
Yeah.
You know, and then when the ball comes, bam, he kill you.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what you're watching on Netflix?
Whatever the conversation may be, you just be, oh, what about that? And what? Be like, no, I'm not concentrating. And what was good about him, or funny, was in and around the halfway line, and the ball would come up to me, he'd be quite soft, and like you could push him and he'd fall and get the foul. Come to the final third, he was an ox. Like that was it. When he was near the goal, he was like, now I need to score, so we need to switch on. He was top. Didier was top.
I love these stories. I love these stories that we get on Matchday Live. You know what else I love about Matchday Live, and we haven't done it in ages, is a good old quiz, a good old game. We used to do them all the time, and you know what? We're bringing it back. So we used to, many years ago, for those loyal fans of yours that have been here from the start, we used to do a mystery player game. It went away for a bit, but you know what? The good news is it's back. So we gave you one clue right at the start of today's show, and now it's time for Mystery Blue Clue 2. That's a tongue twister. So, Mystery Blue Clue 2. So, Clue 1 was this player scored 76 goals across 5 teams in the Premier League. Clue 2, this player has appeared in 35 games alongside Kolo Toure. Uh-oh, Kolo, we're going to test you here. And I just want to tell you all as well, for those of you that remember this game from the first time around, we used to have the picture of the person as like a silhouette. We're not doing that anymore because that used to give away. So this picture is not the person. So, Mystery Blue, let us know. Use the WhatsApp number. Let us know who you think. Kolo, any ideas? Have we given you anything there that could help?
He should know. If that was me, I would know. I would know if it was me.
I have no clue, honestly. No clue at all there. Wow.
He had a good guess at the start, didn't he? He had a good guess with after the first clue. He said Nicolas Anelka.
Okay.
But then that was the first one.
I didn't play with him.
Yeah. No at all.
Okay.
I need some help there.
We'll give you another clue in a bit. We'll give you another clue. And we'll give you all another clue in a bit as well. So let us know who you think it is after 2 clues. Use the WhatsApp number. You can also use the WhatsApp number to send us a question. Ask any of our guests anything that you would like. The number is on your screen. Who is the Mystery Blue? And also any questions for our guests. You know that I like the more difficult, the better, or the more random. We asked Joleon last time he was on what his favourite Halloween movie is. So whatever you want. By the way, Joleon, I watched Saw 10 the other day. We were talking about it. Yeah, enjoyed it. Joleon's a bit of a film buff, we learned. So anything that you would like to ask them, you can do so here on Matchday Live. Use the WhatsApp number. We're going to bring you the Chelsea team news in just a second. As soon as we have that, we are going to bring you that Chelsea team news. And of course, I think we're all excited to know in the studio here if Reece James is going to be playing, because it'll be Reece James versus Jeremy Doku if he is. Okay, we're going to bring you the Chelsea team news now. So this is Chelsea's team for today. Sanchez. James indeed does play. That'll be very interesting. Disati, Silva, Cucurella, Fernandez, Gallagher, Casido. You might recognise a certain Cole Palmer and Raheem Sterling. And then Nicholas Jackson makes up the Chelsea team. You can see the subs that are on there on your screen now as well. So that is the Chelsea starting 11 for today. Reece James plays. I mean, Reece James versus Jeremy Doku is going to be very interesting, Brian.
Oh yeah, well, these two will know a lot more than me about 1v1 defending. But Reece, I picture as being the king of it. I love Reece James, and that'd be that'll be a fascinating matchup. If there will be definitely instances where it's just 1v1, and to see how he defends against Jeremy, or Jeremy exposes what Reece can do, will be fascinating. It'll definitely give a good indicator of how fit Reece is at this moment, based on where he is after his injury.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, but I think one of Reece James' best games was Madrid away, Vinicius Junior. Exactly. So he's one of the few defenders that has his best games in the defensive scenarios, where there's not many defenders that do that nowadays. It's all in possession, and they're great in possession or score goals, where Reece James can actually and loves in defending.
He got great power as well.
Yeah.
Doku him, the power will be the difference there. today.
And he'll push him back. Reece James will get forward.
Absolutely.
And he's a very intelligent player, can play midfield, so I'm sure he's going to have to push him back and he's going to be responsible. Probably have to be the most responsible game for Doku, because I'm sure, having faced other fullbacks, he's just in control. Man City have all the possession, majority of the possession, and his threat outweighs theirs, where I think Reece James will kind of have him thinking a little bit here. So it'll be good.
Absolutely.
It's just one of the really fascinating stories. When I look at this Chelsea 11, there's so many questions that I want to ask you all. Maybe partly because there's so many. It's such a new team for Chelsea this season, and of course there's so many crosses overs between City and Chelsea. Cole Palmer obviously is the most fresh one. Kolo went at the start of this season, and since he's joined Chelsea, I mean, I've heard Chelsea fans are now calling him their main man. I mean, he's looking incredible for Chelsea.
He's a great player. Honestly, for me, he's the man at Chelsea at the moment. He's the one who wants to take the responsibility of the team. He's the one who wants to take the ball. He look forward, pass the ball forward. He control the game for them. I think as a young player, for me, he's doing unbelievable. Unfortunately, for me, I will say for City, losing a player like that, I think is tough, because this boy have unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent.
And you know all about that firsthand, of course, Brian. Were you disappointed when he went? And are you happy to see how well he's doing? Tell us what he was like as a player.
It's hard to describe, really. When I first came to the club, my first experience of Cole Palmer was just to be blown away by his ability to there's a lot, in football, there's so much moves that are rehearsed and planned, and opposition coaches can plan for certain things. But Colas has an ability to run in behind the last line so often, it's unplannable, because as top class of you you can plan for the stuff in front of you, but when he moves in behind the last line, he gets into so many goal-scoring positions just by his physical capacity to sprint, and then his technique at the end of it's so good. He's almost like the complete package of an attacking midfield player, and equally adept in wide positions, but he really was an eye-opening experience for me to see what a top-class attacking midfield player looked like at the highest level, and he definitely is that, which he's showing now.
Of course, you have a big personal experience as well from the England under-21s when you were there as well. How did you find him when you were with them?
Yeah, like the guy said, exceptional talent, great guy. Spoke to him this morning, and I just want him to do well, because I know how much he loves football, wants to do well, wants to be the best he can be, and who knows where that is, or knows what level that will be, because like I said, he's a remarkable talent, but his intelligence, his ability in possession, and just to speed up the game or slow it down, whatever it needs, he's able to recognise that. And I don't think he's played as regular as a height or winger as much as Chelsea, because before he's playing as an 8, and in England we played him as a 6, and again controlled the tempo. So his ability and his understanding of the game is remarkable. So I'm not surprised what he's actually doing, to be honest, because as long as he was given the opportunities, he was always going to perform.
I love his personality. He had a strong personality.
Yeah.
He's a man for me.
No.
He's a man. You can trust him. You can give him the key of your club. He will run that. And we are very impressed by the boy.
I always loved interviewing him. He always gave great,
funny.
funny answers.
Honest, just
Yes.
honest.
So funny.
Yes.
Such a good guy.
What was the conversation like this morning?
I just wished him well. Again, didn't get too much said just to control your emotion. I know what it's like playing against your previous club, and sometimes you let the emotion side of it overtake the actual game itself, where I'm sure all his friends and all his family are City fans, so they'll be there and supporting him, and it'd be new for them to not want City to win, and him the same. So yeah, just to play his game, basically.
You don't want him to play well today.
No. But I want him to do his thing, rather than just not let the emotional side of the game or this occasion get.
I think most City fans seem to be still behind him, don't they? I think they understand what happened, and I saw Paul with Dickov was saying about it was almost a unique situation where Cole was desperate to play, knew he could play, but couldn't be guaranteed games at the club, and got such a big fee from him. It's almost a perfect move for Cole, really, isn't it? To go on the Maurizio and have such an important role in the team as they form.
Yeah, I think majority of City fans would definitely agree.
Yeah.
I am surprised though. I didn't expect him, with the greatest respect to him, to become such a pivotal part for Chelsea so quickly.
Yeah, I think he did though, which is a sign of what he's about. I think he would have expected to go in and be the main man straight away.
Oh, 100%. And not even the main man, just...
He just knows a good...
Yeah, just to perform. His performances aren't surprising himself.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Because he believes in his ability, and whether that means he's the main man because the other players aren't performing to their capabilities, but he's performing to his, and Cole will always believe that he can do that.
course, another player in that Chelsea starting 11 today that used to play for us is, of course, Raheem Sterling. And I wonder if Raheem will give him some advice today, Kolo, about what it's like to play against your former team.
Yeah, I think, Raheem had a great time here, and I'm sure that every time he play against City, he want to show that they were wrong to leave him go. That's the feeling you always have when you play against a team that you've been there and you had a good time there. You always want to show them that, yeah, listen, I'm still there. Yeah, exactly. And but Raheem is a really, really good player, and I think he's playing on his peak right now. When we say again, because I can see him more direct, and I'm sure that coming from Pochettino, I'm sure the manager advised him to use his strength, because his strength is to get the ball, attack defense, use his speed, because he has great ability to unbalance defenders very, very quickly, like Doku, and he will play well again today, I'm sure.
Did you know that you played 50 times with him at Liverpool?
Yeah?
50
okay,
times,
surprise.
yeah.
Well, he's not the answer to that.
Yeah.
He's not the answer, Kolo.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Wow.
50 times. And of course, that was right at the start of his career as well. Did you kind of instantly know, as like he would have been 17, 18, 19 years old then, how good he was going to be?
I will tell you one story. We play Man City against Liverpool at Anfield. And I was playing. I was playing there. We playing three at the back, and I was against Raheem. Honestly, and I think that was his debut. I think it was coming. Honestly, one of the hardest game I played, because I was not playing very. I wasn't playing regularly, and I came up and play against him. Oh my God, he kept coming at me. He was a young player, and after 17 minutes, I'm telling you, my leg was gone. Honestly, it was like, wow.
What was the score, Kolo?
I think we finished 1-1 or something
1-1.
like that. We finished a draw. I don't think we lost. I made sure we defended. But it was a tough game. It was really tough game, and I was so impressed by that boy. Honestly, his pace, power. It was incredible for his size. What a player.
What a player, and he starts for Chelsea today. Another player that starts for Chelsea today is 39-year-old Thiago Silva. I'm not saying anything to any of you, but how is he still playing at 39 years old? Who wants to take it?
I don't know. Listen, he's got a high level of a high IQ, because he's not playing physically. Like, he's using his brain a lot more than he's using his physique and his attributes, but a special player. Will go down in one of the greats of the game when he's all said and done.
Yeah.
Not only for just playing at 39, but he's been consistent for 25 years. Like, there's not been many periods in his career when he's been questioned. So to just maintain this level, a bit like Pepe, who's seen still playing at like 41 nearly, I think. So yeah, huge admiration for what he's doing and what he's done, because again, it's remarkable that he's playing at 39, but I think the level that he's had throughout that time is the most impressive thing for me.
I wasn't sure when he came here. I was thinking coming to Premier will expose him, because he's not that tall, and he doesn't use his power a lot. He uses his brain. But I'm telling you,
and his English isn't great either. So he must just have a ridiculous level of IQ to understand and not be able to communicate as freely as other players that can speak the language.
Exactly. So impressed by he's a top professional.
Yeah.
I think he has people around him. He has his own physios. He has, I'm sure he has a chef, and to be able to keep playing in that level.
And he's still international as well. It's not like he's retired from Brazil and just playing club football. He's like we see players do. He's playing international football as well. So, yeah, huge admiration for what he's doing.
He must be the sort of player that you want your players to look up to in terms of, like they were saying, mentally and physically, how he looks after himself.
What a role model. I think all of our young players in the defensive area will be watching him all the time anyway. And you mentioned the fascinating 1v1 matchups in today's game. To see how he deals with Erling will be so insightful, because you've seen the likes of Rudiger be like so aggressive and so tight to him. And if Thiago wants to go down that route, it'll be interesting. Or does he play more of a brain game and try to defend him from deeper? It'll be fascinating to see what way they do, because I think Chelsea, in essence, will still want to be pretty aggressive today. So he'll be pretty exposed in that last line, and how he deals with Erling will probably go a long way to deciding the game.
Very much. Thank you. So you have the City team for today, you have the Chelsea team for today as well. And don't forget, you can ask us WhatsApp questions. Any of our guests, the WhatsApp number is on your screen. Now, we do have FG and Michael Brown down at Stamford Bridge today. So let's cross over now and see what they're thinking ahead of the game.
Joining me pitchside is Brownie, who's seen the Chelsea team. Let's go straight to it. Let's discuss the 4-1 victory in their last game. It was, of course, against a team that had red cards, but they got the job done, didn't they?
They got the job done, but they weren't very convincing. As we said, it was a game of really, really crazy incidents, and then right at the end, Jackson managed to get a hat-trick. He missed a few opportunities. It looked like it was going to be comfortable for Spurs at one point, but they've started to get a couple of results. We know here they're not going so well. They've been under so much pressure, real poor record at home. They're growing in confidence, but still, I just don't see them having enough to beat Manchester City. They've got talented players, we know that.
They absolutely have, and one talented player they've got, they recruited in the summer, and that's from Manchester City. He's been a shining light for them, Cole Palmer. I want to talk to you as a man who's played against former clubs on numerous occasions.
Just a few.
Just a few. What do you think's going through Cole Palmer's head today?
Do you know why? It was so strange for me when I obviously came up against Manchester City. You just want to do well. You want to show that you're a decent player. He'll want to just come through, try and get a result for his side. He's still growing in stature, but what he'll be really doing is enjoying permanent football, playing week in, week out. That's what he's decided to come to Chelsea for, and he's getting better. He's maturing as well. So it'll be really, really dangerous. We know he can score a goal. He's got that little jink, and he'll be so excited today because all he knows is Manchester City.
He does indeed, and a man who City fans will be very appreciative of is Raheem Sterling. A fantastic servant for our club. He's in the Chelsea lineup today. How do you think he's done here, and how do you think he'll be relishing the opportunity to play against Man City?
He'll be really looking forward to it because the last few times hasn't gone so well. He hasn't managed to get a result. We know they're not scoring since the Champions League final against Manchester City, so hopefully that continues. He'll feel more confident because his Chelsea side are improving, are getting better. He's just lost out on that England squad, we know that. And he's had some really good performances. Lots of people are saying good things. He's on a good run of form, and he was certainly one we've got to really take care of on the counter. We know he's quick. He knows he gets into some great positions, and he'll be dangerous. And that front three in behind, we've got a really good midfield three as well, and that's probably their sort of key players and the key areas that they've got against City today.
Let's touch on Cucurella as well. He's starting today. He came on for Colwell at half-time, I think it was, in the Spurs game. He was a man that was potentially linked to being sidelined at Manchester City. What do you think about his qualities? And again, is it a point to prove for him?
Do you know what? You see straight away, don't you, that he's got that quality. He's got the ability to go into key areas. Not always the starter here, which is interesting. When you look and say City were rumoured to want to take him, he'll just feel like he wants to cement his place in this Chelsea side. So good opportunity for him. We know he's talented. We know he can get forward. We know he takes the ball in good areas. But it's going to be going the other way for him today. I think he'll be under real pressure, whichever City's wide player decides to get out there and rotate around. But he'll have his work cut out defensively.
He will indeed. Well, kick-off is fast approaching. We're going to head back to the studio and we'll be back for our final thoughts shortly.
Thank you, FG, and to Michael Brown. Joleon and I were just talking there. Sorry, FG, we were listening to you. We weren't. We've just busted us with having a sorry, Joleon. But we were talking.
I was listening.
Yeah, you were talking about Thiago Silva, and I was listening to you. What did you want to share?
No,
about
just
Thiago
the point
Silva?
you made about his importance and his age and stuff. And we were speaking then. Me and Kolo and Bruyne as well will know that his importance on the pitch is great, but his importance in the squad, being that age, and obviously with a younger squad they have, and just understand what it takes to have longevity in the game and the habits and the professionalisms and the kind of traits that you need to have longevity is so important. And I think there's other clubs that are missing out, and clubs in general that want to bypass 33-year-olds because they see and they're past it on the pitch, but the importance they can have on your club and on your squad is so vital. And I think Chelsea have really struck gold in regards to keeping him.
And it's a lovely way in to talk about what I'd like to talk about now, Joleon. So the importance of having Thiago Silva, a player like him, in a dressing room or as an example to younger players, moves it nicely on to talk about some younger players. Because there is another brother partnership in town. Of course, we are very, very delighted to have Kolo with us today. And of course, Bruyne and the new brother partnership in town, the Heskeths, Bruyne. Yeah. You've got two brothers. You've got Jaden and Regan Hesketh, and in the game in midweek, 15-year-old Regan Hesketh made his debut for you in this competition, and he scored. Can you tell us about them?
He came in the day before the game, came from school on the day of the game. I came out to get him early from school, Regan, and in the first half, it was his first game in the under-19 competition. He basically created one goal, took the penalty, as you can see, and then had an assist for the third goal, I think. So
was he on pens before the game?
No.
So what did he get the pen and then?
He got taken down for the penalty, and I think he was suggesting some of the players gave him the ball, but I think he took it.
Yeah. Great penalty.
I think.
Personality? He must have a personality to do that.
I don't know him that well, Julian. I've seen him playing, but my conversations with him have been very minimal. Obviously, coming from where he's coming from, his family, he's used to this kind of stuff. But basically, looking for some advice from Kolo on how to deal with the brother dynamic, because I didn't even think about it until the day of the game. And Jaden is only 18 himself, his older brother, so but he is. They're very different in ways. So it was very much learning on the day for me, and didn't really know what to say apart from. My instinct was telling me that Jaden felt responsible for Regan, but Regan is very much his own man and just kind of made sure that the other players were looking after him rather than Jaden and left him play his own game. So it's an unusual dynamic,
exactly.
Isn't it? It's different, I think.
Absolutely. As a older brother, you always tend to worry more about your younger brother.
That's good information.
You know, and you want him to be. And you remember
your younger brother did all right. He did okay. He did okay.
By the way, when he came in the club, I think he had a tough time. When he came at Man City, because he wasn't performing very well, you know, and I had to step up and do some few things for him. Maybe he forgot that.
Yeah, maybe he forgot it. We didn't forget, Kolo. We didn't forget. No,
because I was so worried for him, you know, because coming from Barcelona, expectation was really, really high, and he wasn't like particularly doing very well. But I was like, you know, I was feeling bad, you know, because I wanted him to really do well, and obviously pick up, and then he just went and. You know,
the rest is history.
Exactly. he did so well after. So proud.
I imagine is it difficult then, as the older brother, your younger brother's playing, to stay concentrating on yourself and your game, or is it every time someone like challenged him, were you like extra jumpy or anything?
That's a great question. I'm telling you, when I was playing,
I was going to ask that.
When I was playing at the back. Every time I lose the ball, I will go like. I will fight to get the ball back again, you know, because he's unconscious, but I will fight like a little bit more than if he's in everybody. Yeah. You know, he's very strange, you know, but that was my thing. And
do you think he had that same trait when
you know that? You know, Joe.
He didn't have that trait when he lost the ball.
No, at all. You know, by the way, he's very strange, but you know, some of the boys were surprised. They was like, "Kolo, it's your brother, you sure?" Because I was like really caring about him, but it's somebody different, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, he think about himself, you know, and
in a good way. In a good way, yeah. Kolo was a leader of men. Yaya was just a leader from what he did. Like his performances led by example, where Kolo could control an environment where Yaya didn't have that skill set. He just was like, well, if I do what I'm supposed to do, we'll be okay. And we tend to be okay when he performs.
Exactly.
So that was okay. And we understood that, and that was what was perfect with the group, is that everybody knew everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and we knew strengths of Yaya and Kolo were different but vitally important.
Yeah. Probably similarities, I think. There's probably some similarities. Jaden is obviously Emil's son, and the comparisons are he's an outstanding number 9 who's such a good. Obviously, it's relative, isn't it? Because he's such a young player, but a target man. But Regan is very much an out-and-out wide player who can like eliminate players 1v1 and totally different. So Jaden probably has that protective nature already, irrespective of how young they are. Interesting.
I interviewed him after the game, and
Jaden,
yes, and he just seemed so proud when he talked. When I mentioned his brother, his face lit up, and he just seemed so proud of him. And he was saying that his family were all in the crowd as well, so it was a special day for the family.
Yeah, and you'd have played against his dad. Was a great player, wasn't he? Like, outstanding player. So like Jaden's had to carry that on, and Regan's probably gone under the radar a little bit. But I think in these situations, I was just saying, you almost want to play it down or tell the truth. And Regan is a winger of the highest potential based on his ability to beat players 1v1. And to see a 15-year-old beating the direct opponents were like 18, going on 19, beating him so easily in 1v1 situations was an indicator of how good he is in those situations. He's really a lot of talent and obviously a lot of work to do going forward.
We have to speak about the father, Emile Lescott.
Yeah,
what a lovely man. I had him when I was in Leicester. Great guy. You know, he told me he analysed his kids' games and give them advice. He's big on it, really.
Yeah, he's coach for England 18s now. Yeah, so he's coaching them. Jaden, he's had him in the squads and stuff.
Because he was a coach at the women's team, and is he gone?
So now he's 18's assistant, for England, and
amazing.
Yeah, we said he had Jaden, but what a guy! Very impressive,
lovely man. Honestly.
Well, we do love a brother partnership at City, so the very best to the Hesketh brothers as well. Now, FG and Michael Brown are down at Stamford Bridge today, and they've only gone and found themselves a certain Glenn Hoddle.
Yes, welcome back to Stamford Bridge. Now, this is the first for Matchday Live. We are joined by an absolute legend, former Chelsea manager, former Chelsea player, and former England manager, Glenn Hoddle. Glenn, thank you for joining us. Let's get started. First things first, I want to ask you what you think about Manchester City and the way we're playing right now.
Oh, have you got an hour? I could talk an hour about Man City. No, I think I've gone on record and said that at the moment I think they're the best team in the world, and I'd include any international team. The football that they play, the squad that they've got, you know, if someone goes out, they've lost their best player in De Bruyne. You would never think that in a million years, the way they're still playing. So they've got the squad as well as the 11. Any 11 they play, the way they play, the pass the ball and keep the ball is quite incredible. I don't think we've seen it probably when Pep was at Barcelona. Very similar to that. And they had the little magic man. If it weren't working, they could just give it to Messi and he'd do the rest. But, you know, they are a fantastic football team, and they've improved since Pep's been at City on their defensive side. I was a little bit questioned at the time when they didn't have the right goalkeeper. Playing out from the back was a bit of a risk, like it is for a lot of teams, but not for City anymore, because they've put that right as well. And it's very difficult to play against Manchester City, let alone, you know, when they've got the ball. But how do you set a team up to try and give them problems? That is the big question in football for the other teams. But wonderful team.
Glenn, is that the hardest thing to teach? You look at Pep Guardiola, you've been stood there, we've seen defensive setups from teams, but to be able to teach your team all those different outcomes playing out, progressive change in the style each year, is that the hardest technique to teach as a manager?
Oh, of course, yeah, because, you know, you're asking players to put the ball at risk in front of your goal. And a lot of teams are trying to copy, and they've tried to do it, but they can't do it as well as City. They just haven't got the right goalkeepers to do it, or the centre-backs. And if someone gets injured, they've still got the people that can come in and still are capable of playing that way. That's the problem. I think in the management, when you haven't got your best team out and some of your spine is out injured or suspended, you have to change a little bit, wherever that would be. City don't have to do that. Pep's got them at this. Maybe at the beginning for him it was a bit like that, but now he knows every single player. Look what the lad Lewis, the young boy Lewis, he comes in and plays in.
I was going to ask you about Rico Lewis actually.
What I will say is you just took the question right out. That's because of the football encyclopedia you are. Let's talk about Rico Lewis, the role he's doing in this Pep side, how versatile he is, and English football in general, or the academy in general at Manchester City, seems to be getting a lot of talent from there, and it's good for the English game, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This young boy, you know, Pep obviously trusts him. That's the biggest thing. When you're a manager, you look at talent, you go and watch the youth team and the academy, but then you look at the players that have got ability, but ability's not enough. Have they got the mentality? Have they got the trust that you can go out there and he can reproduce what the manager's asking him to do? This kid can do it. To be, 18 and be put into that midfield area straight away in his early games. Pep must have saw something in him that he could trust that he was good enough to do it, and the kid now is going to get better and better. And when he goes out wide at all, if he plays as a fullback and goes out there wide, it must be a doddle for him. He's only got the linesman behind him. And when you're in the centre of that football pitch,
It's amazing, isn't it, to be able to do that as a youngster, all
absolutely.
those different positions, Glenn. That's what's so hard,
That's
and
what's-
you to take that knowledge on.
But it's not only playing in the other positions, those other positions, it's the quality that he gives you when he plays in them positions. You know, it's a 9 out of 10 every game, and you're normally waiting for a 28-year-old for that, you know, but he's got such consistency, it's quite incredible. So he's only going to get better.
Where would you like to play in that
In the
team
City
of Pep
team?
Guardiola?
God, dear.
Whereabouts? What would your role be?
To be honest, you could play anywhere. You could play anywhere in that team because there is a big structure to it, but it looks like it's free flowing. Does that make sense?
Well, we're just trying to work the team out now. We're looking at teams every week.
No.
We go, right, who's going to play where? And as you say, they just move
Yeah,
around.
I think
so,
Rodri's the one that don't move. He's the one that plays that position all the time, and what a wonderful player. But no, you'd love to play in that team and pass the ball on these pitches. God, we could do some damage there.
Well, we'd absolutely love to have a prime Glenn Hoddle in the City team as well. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live. Let's head back to the guys in the studio.
Thank you, FG. Thank you, Michael Brown. And thank you, Glenn Hoddle, for talking to us. Oh, yes, I'd take a prime Glenn Hoddle in this team for sure. Thank you so much to the guys down there at Stamford Bridge today. We are running out of time. There is only 15 minutes before today's 4:30 UK time kickoff against Chelsea in the Premier League. But it gives us a few minutes quickly to talk about your partnership. Because did you know that you both played 42 times together? Wait, hold. You averaged over 2 points a game together when you played. And 14 clean sheets.
Not bad, huh? Wow.
Decent.
1 in 3, yeah.
Nice, eh? That's it.
That's the title, challenging points tally, that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're winning it against this current City team, but we would have been in this current City team, so we would have been doing all right, Kolo.
Exactly.
Would have been doing all right.
What was it like playing with Joleon? And then I'll reverse that to you in a minute.
Joe was very good in the air, very calm, very intelligent, and he's a guy who just, you know, when you play with Joe, he will have your back. You know, he wasn't a selfish defender, because you have some defender that just think about themselves. But Joe is always communicating to you. He tries to help you all the time. He's trying to cover you. He will cover you, and then he will tell you, hey, come back here, you know. And that was great. It was fantastic for me to play with him, definitely.
Oh, are
Nice,
you going
huh?
to be as nice?
He was the opposite. No, Kolo was like I said before, he was a leader and he came in, and that's one thing I've said numerous times is that, in the greatest respect, like, people see Vinny as the leader, where Kolo was that guy. We had Kolo, we had Carlos, we had Gareth, we had leaders that shaped Vinny, and Kolo was definitely one of them. He's part of the Invincibles, you know what I mean? So he was coming from an era of and a team and a squad that had won stuff. So we brought that excellence. But in terms of playing, like, he's defending, he's 1v1. I think he enjoyed that more than probably any defender. I think he enjoyed to be 1v1, and he was very good at it. And yeah, we brought together to play together. It never kind of happened as much as the set out to do. But yeah, we had some good times. Good times.
A couple of the games that you both played in together that I want to highlight. And there was a certain game where City beat Arsenal. It was 4-2. It was at the Etihad Stadium, and it's more remembered for a celebration from Mr. Adebayor. Now, you'll all remember the celebration. As soon as I say that, you'll all know. But watch this, and Kolo, watch you trying to chase Adebayor down here. Do you remember the celebration, and do you remember chasing him? Because Kolo, you grab him at the end. You're almost like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, I knew what he was going to do. I knew Ade is, you know, Ade used to love Arsenal, and when he left the club, the term wasn't great. And when I saw him running up there, I was like, don't do any bad thing there, man.
He must be quick. If Kolo's not catching him, he must have been quick.
You know, and I just, you know, went there and then just wanted to support he was a brother.
Yeah.
Ade is a brother, you know, and I wanted to look after him really again there.
That was such a bonkers game. I remember it like it was yesterday. The
City,
Arsenal
yeah.
fans went crazy.
But that was my first home game.
Yeah.
That was my first home game.
Never.
Yeah. Sure it was, yeah. I played against Crystal Palace away. I think that was played there, and then I played there.
Yeah.
Arsenal at home.
We won 4 straight, the first 4 games of the season. I loved that season. I loved it. It was so many good stories. Right, another game. You both played in a 2-1 win over Chelsea, and in that one, Carlos Tevez scored this free kick. Joleon, you were a pivotal part of this free kick. Do you remember it?
Decoy.
Joleon, I've never seen you move as quick. If we could see it again, how quickly you move out of the way of that ball.
I don't know why. I should have just tried to deflect it. I should have tried and get a goal out of that. But no, again.
That's an assist, really.
Yeah, really. Just shimmy. I'd probably VAR would have to check that nowadays, wouldn't they? But even the reaction to get there, just in case the keeper saved it.
Exactly.
I was going to tap it in, Kolo. Tapping that in.
That's the thing with Joe. Joe is he was a defender who scored a lot of goals. You know, he was really, really good in the box. You know, and he's telling me,
Yeah, Glenn, I'd like, we've seen Glenn then, the best manager, coach I ever worked under, and he used to have me doing finishing sessions at Wolves, because he said you're getting so many good positions but you don't score enough goals. And literally working with him for like a year, 2 years, I went on to score I've scored 36 goals in my career, but the season I went to Everton after that was I got 10 in one season. And it all just down to him and the different... we used to do set pieces and set plays when you don't really set them up for defenders to be on the end of them, but he used to try and create scenarios where I would be the person finishing. Yeah, crazy.
There you go, Brian. You need to have your defenders staying behind
tomorrow morning.
to do striking.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Tomorrow morning we'll be there. Because essentially we have centre-backs who are now of the highest level technically, but they still don't really look like scoring goals, so it's my job to make them practice.
Yeah.
It makes sense. We don't do a lot of finishing for our defenders, but we have defenders who can score goals. So it's a priceless commodity in the game, really.
Oh, yeah.
I see Ruben do it every day.
Yeah.
Every day Ruben Diaz, I see him every day finishing.
It's just technique. As I said, it's like clearancing, and you practice your clearances, which you should do. You're going to do that more often, but there's going to be a time in a game that, and you probably when you're most erratic as a defender, you probably get in front of goal, and if you just concentrate on the technique, then you'll be able to do it. But the kind of tense emotional side of it, you don't practice, so the repetition helps.
Yeah, that's something I miss in my football career. I haven't been scoring a lot of goals. I was there, I was in the box, but I couldn't read the ball really well.
You read it, but that's the thing. So, but defensively, you could read
exactly.
it. See, I was probably more the opposite. Defensively, I was okay, but in the opposition box, I used to concentrate and just go into the back post all the time, and just recognising that it's going to come in this area and just be alive if it goes in certain areas.
Yeah.
I think you were better than okay, Mr. Premier League, playing yourself down there. OK, we're only a few minutes away from kick-off now. Just a little reminder of the team today, if you are just joining us. It's Edison, Walker, Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol, Rodri, Silva, Foden, Doku, Alvarez and Haaland. So that is the team for today's game. About 7 minutes away from kick-off now. And as I do, Joleon, I've all of a sudden got nervous and my stomach's just jumped. What sort of game do you think it's going to be today?
I'm expecting a tight game today. I think there'll be periods where Chelsea cause problems. Again, I just think they have the players to do that. Raheem, Cole. I do like the midfield, that they have a lot of energy, quality. So I expect there to be more uncomfortable periods throughout the game, but I still believe we scored 2-3 goals, which is enough.
OK, the teams are now in the tunnel, so we'll be going over there in just a second. Kolo, give me a prediction for today.
I will go for 3-1 for Man City.
Oh, take that right now, Brian.
These have loads of. I think they have loads of previous Poch and Pep, where they've always gone at it, and sometimes the coaches can't control everything, but they'll be the reason why this game will be like it'll be like hammer and tongs, and I think it could be something like 3-2, 4-2 City. But it'll definitely be. They just won't be able to take a step back. Both coaches won't allow themselves to.
But I think Poch is more emotional towards Pep than the other way.
Obsessed with him, and I'm obsessed with him because of his previous history with Espanyol and Barca, I think, and Raheem and Cole will want to go for it, won't they? So that's why it's a box office game.
What a great game to watch!
Yeah. What a great game to watch! I cannot wait, and what a great game to listen to. And to get the full match commentary, get onto the Manchester City app right now. Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison are with you for today's game. We'll all be back at half-time and full-time as well. Joleon, Kolo, Brian, thank you. Love that. One of the best. Thank you all for joining us today. Get onto the commentary now, and we'll see you in 45 minutes.
Thanks, Natalie. Well, City will go into the international